All right, we're here with head coach Steve Specht of the St. Xavier Bombers going into the Division One state championship, taking on the Olentangy Orange Pioneers, who are undefeated on the year. And coach, I appreciate you making time for us here at Storied Rivals, and congrats on the success to this point in advancing to a state championship. And you're playing for your fifth state championship as the head coach of these Bombers, and your first one since 2020. What goes into this level of sustained success that you've enjoyed really over the past 20 to 25 years? Because it's been really impressive what you've been able to do.
Well, that's a great question, Will, and I appreciate you having me on. I think when any organization, I don't care if it's a high school football team, I don't care if it's a business, if you're going to find sustainable excellence, you've got to be able to look beyond wins and losses. I think you do well. You win a lot of football games because your focus isn't on winning football games. And what does that take? That takes an administration that gets it. It takes St. Xavier High School's administration is always focused on the mission. What is our mission? It's to develop young men that are going to rise above and be men for and with others. And that's always the focus. And I get incredible support from the administration. I remember when I was hired, Father Dye, Walter Dye, who hired me, he asked me in the interview how I felt about cutting kids. And I was very clear that I refuse to cut a young man that's willing to do everything that's asked of him. We'll carry him. We can do that in football. You can't do it in other sports. I said,
Sure.
but kids will cut themselves. They won't show up for workouts. So, but I told him, I said, I don't believe in cutting a kid that's willing to do everything that's asked of him. And he said, great, because I don't want you to cut kids. And I said, okay, Father, I have a question for you. Are you gonna fund it? Because if we build it and we don't cut kids, and I mean, we've had as many as 320 kids in the program, freshman
That's
through
unbelievable.
senior, and only 11 play, Will. And to his word, Father said, whatever you need, you'll get. Keep impacting these kids in a positive way. And that's really how I believe you build sustainable success is you get an administration that supports you. Our parents have been unbelievable. Parents are incredibly supportive. They understand the mission. They want to win football games, and the alumni wants to win championships. But I think everybody sees the bigger picture and why we do this at the high school level. And when you get a supportive administration and supportive parents, and you hire a coaching staff that loves kids, and then you get great kids. I mean, it's a recipe for success. But like I said, if it were always about winning, I don't think I could do it at this level. That's not why I've stayed at the high school level for as long as I have. But that's a long-winded answer to your question.
I love the long-winded answer, and that's very powerful, and it just speaks to what you've developed with Saint X. And with this season in particular, I think this playoff run has been really unique in that it's been challenging for you. Not that the other ones weren't challenging before, but I mean, you rallied from a 20-point uh, deficit in the second quarter of the regional final. You lost to Moeller in the regular season, but then you beat them in the playoffs for, I believe it was the first time in 4 years since you had beaten them. Just talk to me about the playoff run to get to this point, because that's as challenging as it gets for a lot of programs to find yourself here in a state championship after what you endured.
Well, I think that here in Southwest Ohio, we're a part of the Greater Catholic League South, and that four team. It's only a four-team league. It's Elder High School, it's Moeller High School, it's LaSalle High School, and St. Xavier High School, all private Catholic schools. And I'm not saying it's the best conference in the country, but I think top to bottom, I'd put it up against any other conference in the country. I think we're as talented four schools as possible, and it just so happened this year we came in third in the league. We lost to Elder and we lost to Moeller in the regular season, and ironically, we had to play both Moeller and Elder in rounds 2 and 3 of the playoffs. And when you get schools that know each other that well, the kids know each other, the staff know each other, it's really throw the names in a hat, pull them out it'll be a different order every single time. And we just caught fire in those two playoff games, and our kids never quit and they kept playing hard. And when that happens, good things happen for you.
Now, in the state semifinal against Middletown, you won 21-6, and I read that your star back Daniel Vollmer re-aggravated an injury in that game versus Middletown, and I was just curious his status, for the state championship and whether or not he's going to be able to go, and if he's going to be on the field for you.
Well, Daniel's status hasn't changed over the past 4 weeks. You talk about a warrior. That young
Yeah,
man has been banged up, beat up, and he hasn't taken a snap in practice in God knows how long. But he shows up on Friday. Here's a young man. It's a 3-year starter, a 2-year captain. If there's any way Daniel can play in this game, he's going to play in this game. I don't know what that's going to be until we suit up tomorrow night and we get on the
sure.
field. But if anybody can play tomorrow night, it's going to be Daniel Vollmer.
Yeah, and a guy that stepped up big time, in his absence after aggravating the injury was Jake Britt. He had a receiving touchdown and a rushing touchdown. Your quarterback Jackson Frey threw a couple touchdowns. Just talk about what they did to step up, with him being banged up and giving you everything that he has. But other guys are stepping up to account for that, and it's really been a team effort. It seems like.
Yeah, it's always everybody has the mantra next man up, whether it's the NFL, collegiate, and college or high school. And that's what a team is. A team steps up. And Jake Britt's interesting because Jake is a 3-year starter. His sophomore year, he was our starting tailback. Junior year, we moved him to the slot receiver because Daniel emerged as our go-to running back. And then this year, I moved him to corner. So he's been a full-time cornerback for us, doing a great job. And then he was going a little both ways in the slot. And then with Daniel going down last week, he took more snaps in the backfield. So Jake's he's kind of a Swiss Army knife. He can do a lot of different things. So he'll be in the backfield some. Spencer Stegbauer will be in the backfield some. We'll have Aiden Graham, a sophomore, that's going to get some snaps. And they've all played this year and they've all contributed. And like you said, with Jackson Frey, Jackson's really playing well at quarterback. He really hasn't isolated one receiver. He's really spread the wealth this year. Early in the year, it was Cam Taylor that was getting a lot of touches. And in the middle of the year, it was Alex McClatchy was getting a lot of touches. And then lately, it was Logan Von Holly. And then Cam Taylor reemerged last week. So there's a lot of really good kids that play really hard that can impact the game in a positive way. And it's our job. It's my offensive coordinator, Robert Klotz's job, to make sure that these guys are getting the touches that they need for us to be successful.
Now you're matching up against Olentangy Orange, and it seems like it's the perfect storm for them this year under Wes Schrader. It's his second year leading the program. They're undefeated. Their offense has been lights out. Their defense was awesome last week against St. Edward. I'm sure you noticed that. They forced 5 turnovers, 4 picks, and a fumble. Levi Davis and Lucas Fickel are unbelievable players on the offensive side, and Levi's a finalist for Ohio Mr. Football. And I know you've got, Power 5 level players on your defense at the linebacker positions, but just talk about the challenge of matching up against that offense. They do so many things so well, and it's just difficult to stop. And Levi may be one of the best quarterbacks that I've seen personally live.
Yeah, Coach Schrader has done an unbelievable job with the Orange program. Those guys defensively, they are the most fundamentally sound defense I've watched on film this year. Those kids are never out of position. It's really uncanny how disciplined they are, and they make very few mistakes. They don't do a whole lot. They're not very complicated. They just play fast and they play it really well. And I think their defense, in a lot of ways, has been overshadowed by their offense. And as you named it, Levi Davis is a difference maker. He's the most. I'm trying to think of a good way to describe him. I don't want to use the word frightening, but it is frightening. A guy can score from anywhere on the field at any given time. He's a true dual threat player. He can hurt you with his arm. He can hurt you with his feet. I don't know if he's been a 4-year starter for them at Orange, at least 3 years. So he understands this offense incredibly well, and he executes it incredibly well. And when you add, as you mentioned, Lucas Fickel into the mix, the 1-2 punch that they offer you from a running game standpoint, it's tough to defend. It really is. They're just a very talented group, top to bottom. There's no weaknesses in them. There's a reason they're undefeated. There's a reason they shut Eds out and beat them 28-0 in the semifinals. So we have our work cut out for us. That's for sure.
What's your favorite part about playing this game at the Pro Football Hall of Fame? It's where, legends in football live forever at the pro level, but obviously these high school state championships get to be played here. I'm sure that that's really special. And what's been your favorite part about coaching in this game at this location, this venue for, your state championship wins and appearances?
Well, obviously the history, Will, of the Pro Football Hall of Fame of Canton, Ohio, and what it means to professional football, for just football in general. It's a town that lights up when you talk about football. I mean, if you're going to play a championship game anywhere in the country, Canton, Ohio. You'd say Canton, Ohio. It's an unbelievable. The
Yeah.
fans are rabid. It doesn't matter what part of the state you're coming from. They just love football, and it's exciting to play there. But I'll also temper that with this is our first time back to Canton since 2007. We've also played at the Shoe in Columbus at Ohio State Stadium.
Yeah.
We played at Obetz up north, and you could play this game in a parking lot of a Denny's restaurant, and I think I'd get excited. The communities would get excited because it's the biggest stage for these kids. It's a special accomplishment for the communities, for the kids, the parents, the schools. It doesn't really matter where you play it. Just playing at a Canton adds just that the historical references about the game of football that adds a little luster to it. But you can play it anywhere, and it's going to be a fun atmosphere.
Absolutely. Well, Coach, I really appreciate you making time for us at Storied Rivals to sit down for an interview for 10, 12 minutes, man. Best of luck against Olentangy Orange and your quest for your fifth state championship as the head coach of St. Xavier. And I really appreciate your time, man, and good luck.
Thanks, Will. We appreciate your time. Have a great day.